Welcome back to the 20th part of creating a 2D platformer using libGDX, and it's really exciting today because we finally hit our 20th episode, and in addition to this we're going to be doing something that's really cool by adding fonts to our game. So this way we can display text and strings and everything else there, so we can actually keep score finally. So what we're going to do here is we're going to download this program called hero.jar. I might be mispronouncing it. If I am, I'm sorry. But you want to download this particular jar file. It's also built into libGDX, and you can get that out. There's some tutorials on how to do that already out there. So just follow those particular frameworks. But once you have that downloaded, we are going to go and open this up. And when we open this up, we're pretty much given all these really cool features, and we can change these around. Look at all these different fonts. We can change the gradients, colors, make them bold, whatever we need it. So I've already selected a Courier. That's Courier new. Courier new. There it is. I wanted to take a blocky text. This isn't too blocky, but we're going to make it a little blocky by shrinking the size. So we're going to have a size 16, and we're actually going to make it bold. So it's very, very small. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it bigger so it looks a little pixelated. I can change the color, the gradient. If I wanted just to test to see what it looks like, I can change that background. That absolutely does nothing other than allows me to see what it would look like in my game. So we have these elements here, and once we're done with this particular making our font file, we have a couple options. We can save the settings file so we don't have to recreate this every time, or we can save the it or export our file so we can use it in libGDX. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it in my tutorial stuff folder, and I'm going to call this font. Okay, hit save. And now when I come over here, I have a couple new fonts here. I have font.font, and then I have font.png. Those are useful stuff. So we are going to add new stuff. Okay, and we're going to do font, and we're going to add a new place to store files, so we're going to be organized, and we're going to drag those in. Hit copy, and now we should have font in the PNG, which is perfect. So now when we go into the cool guy stuff, we're going to go into our global variables, or our instance variables. We're going to do private, and we're going to do Bitmap Font, and we're going to call this font. Yes, very, very clever naming convention. I'm not going to be adding anything to that. So there we go. I have Bitmap font. So now I'm going to come down here to the very bottom and load this particular font. So it's font equals new Bitmap font, and we're going to create. We need to take in a few things. The first thing that we're going to take in is the font mapping file, which is right there. So we're going to do gdx.files.internal, and we're going to do font/font.font. Okay, we now need to take in what we're actually mapping to, so we're going to do gdx.files.internal font.font.png. And the last thing is we have to put false in here. I'm not quite sure what that is. I need to look that up in documentation, but I'm really not quite sure. The next thing I want to do is I want to increase the size. So I'm going to do font set size or set scale, and I am going to increase it by, let's do it by 2. 2 or 4. Let's do 2. That makes it 32 pixels high. So we're going to do set scale 2, and I think we'll be good. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our render method. So we're going to go into main game, and so we're scrolling down this main menu, main game here. So I wanted to draw on top of everything. So I'm going to go to my end batch script. I'm going to do font dot draw, and first thing I need to do is put the batch. Then what I want to say, hello game, and then I'm going to put in where I want everything. So let's do this one at 450. Let's do a little bit lower. Save. So we should have hello game when we're playing the game running on here. So let's test that out, make sure we're doing this correctly. So we start the game and we have hello game right here, and right now that's kind of in a fixed location based on in real game space. That's why it moves around a little bit. So what we can do is we can change that up a little bit. So we need to base it off the player's location, kind of how we've done the sprite left and right. So we're going to kind of steal a little bit of that code there. So let's find the code for this. Find the left button. Find the left button. More. Okay. See how the left button is at the player's hitbox minus 800? Okay. So that's what we need to do to move and make it move with the character every single time. So the way we're going to go do this, and let's go back down to this. Where is it? Lost it. I think it's above this. Alright, so right there is where we're going to be printing out. But we don't want to print there. We actually want to print at player1.x.hitbox right there. So this should align us automatically with the left screen and follow the character around. It's kind of lagging a little bit. Most likely it is because we update the we're updating the character's movement the left a little bit before we're actually moving everything. So we can change this just a tad by actually getting the player's location. So let's change that around a little bit, and we're going to come up here to the top, and we're just going to do a private float. We're going to do font POS for font position, and we're going to set it equal to 0. So it's going to flicker in, but that's okay. It's only going to be a frame. So what we're going to do here is after the player is done moving, our font POS, and then after it's done moving, which is actually what we want the player to do is not move. So we're going to put it right here before the updating the camera. So we're going to do font POS equals that piece of information there. So that's when the camera updates, this is where our person is. So that's going to be key. Let's run that again, make sure it's not jarry like it was before. No, it stays in the exact same location, which is exactly what we want. Okay, we might want to move it up a little bit we can do that. That's pretty simple. All we do is go back up to that where we drew it, and we just move it up a little bit. So if I hit save, it's up there at the top. So now we want to have score. So what we're going to do is we're going to do deaths. And in this particular one, we want to start counting our deaths of how many times we actually die in this particular game. So we're going to create a private integer, an integer, not an int, whatever, int called deaths, and we're going to set that equal to 0 when it's created. Just to make sure that it's set to 0, we're going to do deaths equals 0. Then when we come over here to the main game, we are going to display the deaths. So plus deaths. And then when we die, we want to increment deaths. So deaths plus plus. And that's every time we die. So where is that? Boom, boom. Another one, another death here. And the last death is right here. Hit save. And now we run it. Hit start. We're at 0 deaths, so let's die real quick. Restart. Okay. Now we have 1 death. 2 deaths. That's 3 deaths there. 3 deaths. 4 deaths. So every time we die, it creates one of those. Now we could create one for coin in the exact same way, and I'm going to probably do that off camera for us. So we'll have coins over here on the right, and death toll on the left, and maybe we'll try to get maybe a timer or something in the middle. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. I really don't know how much time we ended up using on this one, but hopefully it's not longer than 15 minutes. So anyway, I look forward to seeing some of your projects. Send me a message when you complete anything. I'll be more than happy to look it over. If it's awesome, I will post it actually on this feed. And thank you guys for watching.